Ramachandra Parajay Sharanam Bali ki trasika pisha basegiri jata Mahaprabhu Pantini.
Reason we're going to talk about Dhruva today is because it says in Srimad Bhagavatam that if you talk about the pastimes of Dhruva with qualified individuals, you'll be able to get your material desires. So I don't know who those qualified individuals are. I don't know if it counts as me. I don't know if you need a bona fide guru. But if we talk about this, you're going to get on the right track. You're going to get somewhere. I guarantee you, if you listen to this the whole way through. And the reason for Dhruva being such an important figure in us getting our desires is that God gave Dhruva something that he never had ever been given to anyone in the history of the world, and no one will ever get this in the future, and that is the North Star. Dhruva was given the North Star by Lord Vishnu, which is also known as Polaris. Yeah, you go, you look up in the star at night, you look for the Big Dipper, and the North Star is kind of near the Big Dipper. It's not really near anything else, but it is due north, and it is the pole star. It's also called Polaris, if you're familiar with the term Polaris. It's called the pole star because it doesn't move. Scientists say that it does move a little bit, but compared to every other celestial body, the sun, the moon, all the planets, it does not move. So Dhruva is actually a symbolism of stability and being fixed. And if you have a material desire, you need to be stable and consistent in your goals in trying to get that desire. Other cool thing about the North Star, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, is that when this entire material universe is destroyed, the North Star will still be remaining. That's right. When this whole world and everything around us, the sun and the moon, is destroyed, the North Star will still be existing. It happens every so often, either a flood or a great fire, usually caused by Lord Shiva, because Shiva is the destroyer. So, how did Dhruva get this boon is the question that we're going to answer right now. So Dhruva had a chip on his shoulder. He was the son of a king, and he had an issue with his stepmother, which is quite interesting. It's actually similar to Lord Rama. If you know the story of Lord Rama, he was exiled into the forest by his stepmother. Dhruva was not exiled by his stepmother, but his stepmother told him that he could not sit on the lap of his father, and she wanted her own son to sit on the lap of his father because Dhruva's father had multiple wives, as was the custom of kings back in the day. This is kind of interesting if you have a stepmother. I have a stepmother. She tries, she does her best, but there's always a little bit of a genetic competition between your stepmother's kids and your biological. So he went out into the forest, take austerities because he had a chip on his shoulder and he wanted to make things right. He ran into a great sage named Narada Muni. Narada Muni, you guys probably know who he is, a transcendental spaceman. And Narada Muni thought this was really funny because this kid was 5 years old. This is not usually what 5-year-old kids do. Usually grown adults will go out into the woods to take austerity. The other thing that was funny is that he was the son of a king. He was a Kshatriya. Now, Kshatriyas are supposed to be tough guys. They're supposed to be trained in battle techniques. There's a saying that sticks and stones might break my bones, but words will never harm me. But this did not apply to Dhruva Maharaj. He was clearly offended, even though nobody, threw a stick at him. He thought, oh, wow, these kings, they're supposed to be tough guys, but this Dhruva, his feelings were hurt clearly by his stepmother. So Narada said, okay, little boy, if you really want to do this, go ahead. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to please Lord Vishnu. Okay, you're going to have to take austerities, but your austerities are supposed to please Lord Vishnu. And this is kind of backed up in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to do everything as an action to me, as an offering to me. And it's kind of strange because, God has everything. And, it's almost like when I try to get my dad a Christmas present, what do you get the guy who has everything? Well, just do it as an offering to him. And it's kind of like a mental, situation. It's like a state of mind. And I when I reflect on this Bhagavad Gita verse, do everything as an offering to Krishna, I don't even know if I'm really doing it right, but it makes me actually feel better. when I'm doing that. And it's just like a change of it's just your state of mind changes. You're gonna almost do the same thing. You could do the exact same thing you were going to do, but you do it as an offering to Krishna. So Dhruva took austerities as an offering to Vishnu. And so what did Dhruva do? This is really cool. If you're into taking austerities, the first thing Dhruva did is he went 3 days without eating, and he would only eat every 3 days. Some of us have done this before. I've done this before. I can go 3 days without eating, no problem. Especially if I'm out in the woods, I don't have billboards or commercials or anything like that trying to get me to buy a large pizza with 2 toppings on it. You're out there. You're out there in the natural sunlight. You're out there in nature's Shakti. You're in the Divine Mother, and you don't want any food. It's great. It's beautiful. I suggest you all try it, but do it as an offering. So we've all done this. Well, not all of us, but some of us have done this. We've gone 3 days without eating, and that's that's kind of like beginner level. Okay, so after a short period of time, Dhruva stepped his game up. He went from only eating every 3 days to only drinking water every 3 days. Now, this is something I've never done. I need water. I actually need like a soda or or an orange juice, something with sugar in it for me to feel like, I don't know, my head's in the right place. But I do know people who have done this. When I was living at the Hare Krishna Temple in West Virginia, I know people who would fast without eating water. It's very possible. I think I actually almost went a whole day without drinking water. And so you can do this. So he went, only eating every 3 days to only drinking water every 3 days. Now, what he did after that is something I don't know anyone done this before. He would only breathe every 3 days. And this is possible according to the Vedas. What you do is you transfer your life force into your bone marrow. And so your prana is your life force. Usually breathing in, you're taking in prana. And so he was able to take all this prana, transfer it into his bones, and he could get by that way. So he went only eating every 3 days, only drinking water every 3 days, and then only breathing every 3 days. You could see how he was able to level up in this process. So he got very powerful by the end of this. When he was only breathing every 3 days, he became very, very powerful. And what happened is he was starting to create disturbance in the universe. You guys might have heard a term called an energy vampire. Usually we call people energy vampires who we don't like. I know one person who I consider to be an energy vampire, and I don't really like her. Every time I'm near her, it feels like my energy is getting sucked away from me. But it's kind of usually, not such a nice thing. Well, Dhruva actually turned into an energy vampire, as the story goes. When he was only breathing every 3 days, he turned into like a vacuum, and he started sucking up all the prana in the universe. He was sucking up the prana from the demigods. The demigods couldn't even breathe because of Dhruva's power, if you can understand this. And they went to Lord Vishnu and they said, hey, this is a problem. This little 5-year-old boy is not breathing, and he's sucking all our life force out of us. And so Vishnu, comes into Dhruva, and he goes and sees Dhruva while he's taking austerity, and goes, hey, you got to stop. But I'll give you something in return because you're creating this disturbance. And so Dhruva asked for what I mentioned earlier. He wanted something that had never been achieved before and never will be achieved after that, because he had this grudge against his stepmother. So Vishnu gave him the North Star. That's why if you have a material desire and you want to have success, you want to talk about Dhruva, because Dhruva had accomplished something that no one else had ever accomplished. And so I hope you liked today's video, and I hope
it gets you on your way to achieving your own desires.
Baliki trasaka pisha basegiri jata mahaprabhu pantiniha choki mahamuni sapadiyo tabachaye kona bachar bacha kedvija rupa lewaya mahaprabhu sottumadasa ke sokaniwa kona injana te jagamin prabhu sankata mochana namatiyo angara ke sangalena gaesiya koja kapisha yabena ucha jiwatana bachi hona masoju binasuri laye ampaguda herita keta sindhu sabeta valaya siya suri